This is all mods with the tutorial on showing you how to auto rig a character for Call of Duty World at War. Um, you will not have to paint any skin weights if you use a normal character, or you can actually skip this part of the video because we're going to be using Mixamo and just set up the animation part of it and use models already in Mixamo. And the only thing you'll have to do is add the Call of Duty bones to it, and you won't have to paint one skin weight because all their models are 100% rig perfect. First thing you're going to do is get a model with mesh, no bones, so don't pay these two sets of bones no attention. You're going to make sure your model is Y-axis up, X-axis to the right, in T-pose, and facing the screen. It needs to be as perfect as you can possibly get it, and this is very important. You want to make sure he's sized up, a good size. Export it as an FBX or OBJ. You're going to go to adobe.com and you're going to create a Adobe account. You're going to log into Mixamo with a Adobe account, which is going to give you access to their rig character feature, and it's going to be free. You can rig as many models through Mixamo as you want. Like I said, you can skip this step and just do the animation for their bone set and use their models, which they have. Between the models and animations is probably over 100,000 things. There's pretty much models for any game. I'd be here all day trying to go through them all because this ain't the only page of them. You can also use their animations once you set everything up, which you can do a search for certain animations. So all you'd have to do is orient the bones right to export the animation and make sure you put everything right elsewhere, and the animation will work in Call of Duty. So first thing you're going to do is, after you got your character export out of Maya and T-pose, Y-axis up and X-axis to the right, you're going to drag it in the upload character. Once you get to this screen, do not minimize it, do not make it bigger, don't make it smaller, don't do anything to it. Because if you mess with this after it goes to this next screen, you will not be able to set the things you need to auto rig your character correctly. Another thing, you do not want meshes touching it. Don't need to be. So on my character, he had a pair of boots on, and the boots meshes were going through each other in Maya. If I would have brought that in here and rigged it when my character walked, there would have been some mesh stretching between both legs. This thing ain't 100% perfect on every model, but for the most part it is. You can barely see it, but there is a tiny, tiny gap right there. And I also had to put a tiny one between his legs here because that was touching. So if your character looks like this on this screen, just hit next. You're going to grab all this stuff and just move it where it says. The chin, you want to be between the bottom of the chin and the bottom of the lip. Wrist, all this needs to be oriented to the middle of wherever you're putting it as you can get it. Because this is where the bones are actually going to be running. You'll get your best rig out of it. The bone count is the highest of the rig for is 65. So you need to set that to 65. The growing, you want to find the bottom of the growing, the top, and not halfway down, but almost is where you want to put that. You're going to hit next. Now, if you've done this right, your character, the next screen is going to show your character running a Mixamo animation. If the animation is and the character looks all messed up, then you did something wrong. I have not tried to do this with models that might have open parts in their mesh. So I don't know what would happen with that. I haven't done one. So if you got little holes in your meshes on your model that don't need to be there, you might want to try to fix them. Which I know I do have one on the boat, on these boots, because I had to delete one thing, but there's actually something behind it, so it won't mess with the rigging process. It's not actually leaking into the middle of the model. So once you do this, I didn't size my character up before the video. Which, as you look, the model's playing animation. If he's in T-pose, just wait a minute. If your model looks all distorted and stuff during this, then something's wrong. I think on this one, I think his boots are still a little messed up. I'm not sure, but no, they're not fixed. Okay, so once you get it to this point, you're going to hit next, next. Do not click these animations. You don't need that right now. So your model's going to be in T-pose. You're going to download your model, FBX T-pose. So after you download it, you're going to move your model to Maya. All your Mixamo bones are going to have a prefix on them. This Mixamo crap right here. You're going to take that off every one of them. All 65 bones. So you should only see the part that's after. Then I would save it after you do all that as an MB file, start a new scene, and import a zombie or a player model. You're going to take these bones off without the pasted part, which will be tag origin 0, tag origin 1, J main root, J spine lower, J spine upper, J spine forward, J neck, J head, J helmet, tag eye, tag weapon right, and tag weapon left. Once you get all those bones, you see that they're already oriented in Z-axis up. That is how World at War axis is for its models. So once you do that, you're going to highlight the hip joint of the Mixamo, which is going to be your main bones for your character you just rigged through Mixamo. You're going to hold control. You're going to highlight tag origin 1. You're going to go to your script editor. You're going to type in parent -R -S, and you're going to hit command execute. What that did is it made the Call of Duty bones the main joint for controlling the orient of this model. As you see, it turned to the Z-axis up now because that's what the main bone is doing. That's my J head bone there sticking out. I would try to get these a little straight. After you get to this point, save it, and I would do 2. I always do 2, just in case. Sometimes when you're doing changes, the screen will pop up and say, do you want to save? I've accidentally clicked yes because I didn't expect for it to pop up when it did. So after you do this, import another character model. Make sure your model's the same size, or if it's something that's bigger or smaller, just do the comparison to the model you imported. And then after you get done with that, export your model as normal. Textures and everything. Once you get the asset manager and you do the X model, it needs to be on animated. This is how far away the other players can see your character. So after you get it in, do all that, a way to check and make sure your character is correct, you open up Asset Viewer and you type in your model's name. If your model does not show up, that means 2 things. You don't have enough bones, or you added more bones than I said in this tutorial and it's too many. If it don't show up in there, then it's the bones. So after you get that done, you need to make sure you add your X model here, and your textures, make sure you check them all off and move them all to your folder. In your mods folder, you're going to create another folder called MP. You're going to go in raw MP and get these 2 files, player anim type and player anims. And the player anim type, you're going to add a anim type, which is going to be put on your gun file. So I would get the UGX weapon editor, and where it says player anim type on the very first page, you're going to type in your anim type. So after that, you're going to get the player anim dot script. You're going to open it. You're going to look for this line for all vehicles and for all vehicles. If you notice right here, I added a player anim type for 2 things, my zombie and my Goku models. All you got to do is everything's going to have both on it. For some reason, the upper body and the torso thing gives errors. And if you try to convert something as an upper body torso animation, it wants another X model just for that part of the body. So don't worry about it. You're going to go everywhere that there's an instance and put copy a player anim type that's already there and make your own. Which you see, that's his stand. Which I can keep going. And if you see Idler, Goku stand, you're just going to go to each little instant like this and put something. Prone, flinch, every single one of these. If you notice, I did mine at the top of everything. If you don't want any animation there, like I don't want a backwards walk for Goku, I have him jump backwards and stumble walk backwards. I don't have that. So just accent it out. As you see, that's off the wall there. That's when we did ours. You're going to do that in the whole thing. Just keep going and do everything. And if you notice at that part right there, go back up. It was different walk. That was strafe left, strafe right. You see that? You need to make sure you put everything for the different situations. I may include my file and my two files, and the only thing you'll have to do is just go change my animations, leave the player type, leave everything the same. If you want to do world model animation that you just want to happen when you're just whenever you shoot a weapon, you want to do your own custom shooting, or like in my case, I have it when I hit my frag that actually charges my character. You're going to look for script events. You're going to put an event. The name right here is what you're going to call in script. This is the name of the animation. You will not call that with play anime script event. You do not call this, you call the event. So you just put your stuff you want to call in script here, where it says script event, which, like I said, I may include my file, so you just need to go look where I already have some, like my Kamehameha charge. You can change names, leave them the same. You'll just change the animes. So once you do all that, you're, like I said, in your map name, mods map name folder MP, you put them two files. Make sure that you check them off. And once you compile your map, if you did everything correctly, which you're going to have to convert your animes in as well. When you do your animations, let's just go open one. You have to lock certain things, which it'll do once you're actually making the animation. So let's just go to this one. I do believe this is the one I need. All right, this is what I did for my AI running, which I have to give credit to Blunt Stuffy. He told me how to actually get them moving forward in game. So once you get your model, you're doing your animations, this is important. So we're going to go right here. Like I said, this is a Z-axis up game. So you make sure your Z-axis is up. If you're doing walking animation for AI, you're going to move the X-axis. So your animation will be with your character running in place, like mine was. You're going to go to the main tag origin. You're going to go to the beginning of it. You're going to hit S. You're going to go to the end of it. You're going to move that forward on the X-axis. And then you're going to hit S again. How far this is moving is not how that works in game. So if I move this 10 feet, it's going to move him with the animation, but he's going to move super fast. So sometimes you'll set this up and he'll look like he's moving faster than the animation's playing. He's going to move super fast in game, because when you convert your animations out for your AI and your player models, they need to be looping. The only thing you don't have to have on a loop, I believe, is your shoot animation, which I do in my case, but you don't have to. So once you do all that I just stated, then you just compile your map, and you do not have to compile level. just build the mod, because all you did was X models and some animations and files. Make sure you add every single anime that you put in that file here, or you will not see them in game. Once you build your mod, everything will be working. If you only want to use Mixamo models, you just set up this part, which I'm going to include the files, and you just edit mine. You just set this part up, you download a Mixamo model, and you just put the Call of Duty bones on that I stated, and then you port it into game, and make sure it's all oriented right. So if I wanted this model here, I would hit use character, and it's going to port them in, which they already should have Mixamo bones on them. So this is the model. He doesn't have any textures, but I'm pretty sure he has animation. So in order to find out, you go to the model, click an animation. If it doesn't load on that character and do something, then it's not rigged. So which that's a jump down animation. You see there's nothing wrong with this character. If you did everything I stated, this character will work with the animations that you put in 100% correct. All these are fixed. You do not have to touch the skin weights. If you need any help, PM me or comment on this tutorial, and I'll be glad to help you. But that's pretty much it. Just leave your comments. Let me know what you think.